Let me tell you a story. A man named Walter, 74, widowed 5 years, was at his local library one afternoon. He liked the quiet there, the smell of old books, the slow hum of ceiling fans, the way no one expected anything from him. He had become invisible, or so he thought. Every Tuesday, a woman named Elaine would pass his table. At first, she'd just smile. Later, she'd ask, "Reading anything good?" Then came the real question. "What kind of stories do you like?" Walter didn't think much of it. He thought she was being kind, just a friendly face. But Elaine wasn't just being polite. She was reaching for connection. Quietly, subtly, like so many women do, especially later in life. And that's what today's video is about. Because if you're a man in your 60s, 70s, even 80s, and you believe flirting no longer happens at your age, think again. Women haven't stopped showing interest. They've just changed how they do it. Why older women flirt differently. In our younger years, flirting is louder. It's in the way she tosses her hair or laughs a little too hard at your joke. But with age comes grace, confidence, subtlety, and caution. Older women don't flirt the way they did at 25, not because they can't, but because they've learned something more powerful. How to build emotional intimacy without ever saying the words. They've raised kids, buried husbands, built lives full of resilience and wisdom. So now, instead of flash and flare, they flirt with focus. The truth is, most men miss it. Why? Because the signs don't shout. They whisper. Signal 1. The thoughtful curiosity. Let's go back to Walter. After that first conversation about books, Elaine started asking more. "What do you usually do in the afternoons?" "Have you always lived in this town?" These weren't random questions. They were calibrated. Emotional sonar. Older women ask questions not just to gather information, but to make space. They're creating room for you to show up, to be seen. It's their way of saying, "I want to understand your story." Now, this is where a lot of men brush it off. She's just being nice. Or worse, she must be lonely. But you don't ask someone about the dreams they gave up in their 30s unless you want to be part of what's left of those dreams now. The questions are the doorway. Will you walk through it? Signal number 2. The gentle tease that stays with you. Let me tell you about Henry. Henry, 69, took up watercolor painting after retirement. He'd go to a community center every Wednesday, and one of the women there, Judy, always sat near him. One day, as he painted a blurry sunset, she leaned over and said, "That's either a brilliant interpretation or you forgot your glasses today." He laughed. It was funny, but it stuck with him. The next week, she did it again. "That tree looks like it wants to fall asleep." Was she mocking him? No. She was inviting him to play. See, women flirt with words that give you space to respond without pressure. They flirt in a way that allows you to rise into it, not feel put on the spot. These playful jabs aren't random. They're little tests. She's wondering, Do you enjoy the dance? Will you meet me in the middle? And here's what Henry did. He teased back. He said, "You think you can do better? Paint with me next week. I'll bring the wine." They've been painting together and sharing wine ever since. Signal number 3. The unasked for favor with a hidden message. Let's get practical. When a woman offers help without you asking, pay attention. I'm not talking about kindness. I'm talking about those oddly specific, perfectly timed gestures. She remembers you like peppermint tea and brings it next time you meet. She notices your car's dirty and offers her grandson's number for a wash. She says, "I made too much stew. Want some?" Even though you never mentioned being hungry. These aren't coincidences. They're calculated acts of care. Women over 60 learned early on not to chase affection, so they give it instead, through acts of service. It's a safe way to get close, no risk of rejection, but full of meaning. Remember Gary from earlier? The sun hat, the extra seedlings? Those weren't gifts, they were bridges. Every gesture whispered, "I see you, I'm watching, and I care." Signal number 4. The memory that catches you off guard. This one's easy to miss, but hard to fake. Let's say you once mentioned your dog passed away last spring. 3 weeks later, she asks, "Have you thought about getting another one yet?" That's not casual. That's emotional memory. Women remember what matters to the people who matter to them. When she brings up something you said weeks ago, especially if you forgot you even said it, she's not being polite. She's saying, "You're worth remembering." Why does this work? Because memory is the currency of intimacy. And when someone chooses to spend that currency on you, it means you've become emotionally valuable. Signal number 5. The compliment that speaks to your soul. You don't talk just to fill the silence. You have a peaceful way about you. You remind me of someone I trusted. These aren't flings of flattery. They're reflections of admiration, spoken in code. Older women compliment what lasts. Your steadiness, your warmth, your integrity. Not your biceps, not your hairline, but the way your voice makes them feel safe, or how your hands move with patience. And that, my friend, is where true connection begins. The deeper why. Why women flirt this way. So, why all the subtlety? Because at this stage in life, most women aren't looking for games. They're looking for depth, for trust, for the kind of man who sees more than skin and listens with more than ears. They've spent decades caring for others. Now they're looking for someone who makes them feel cared for too, even if it's just in the way he receives a gesture. Flirting later in life isn't about ego. It's about belonging. Walter's moment of clarity. Back to Walter, the man from the library. One day, Elaine didn't ask him about books. She asked, "Would you ever want to grab coffee with someone?" Walter paused. His heart beat like it did at 22. Not because he was surprised, but because deep down he had felt her signals all along. He just didn't believe they could be real. But they were. And maybe, for you, they have been too. So what now? Start paying attention, not to what's loud, but what's quiet, to the question that lingers, to the compliment that feels deeper, to the favor that seems too thoughtful to be coincidence, because chances are someone's been trying to tell you something, and maybe, just maybe, you're exactly who she's been waiting for to notice. If this story resonated with you, leave a comment below. Which of the 5 signals have you experienced, maybe without realizing what it meant? And if you're ready to start seeing things differently, subscribe for more videos like this. Because you're not done living, loving, or being seen. You're just stepping into a chapter where love speaks in softer tones. And it's time to start listening.